Hello, my name is Dr. Muhammad Waiz. I am working as Assistant Professor of Physics in Government College for Men, Kurnool. So, the topic of today's my lecture is superconductivity. So, it is a very interesting topic. Why? Because the superconductivity, basing on the superconductivity, we find many applications in the field of physics and electronics. We all know that basing on the electrical behavior of the substances can be classified into three types. First one is the conductor, the insulator, and the semiconductor. So conductors are nothing but the materials through which the electrical current can easily pass. That is that they can easily conduct the electrical current. So they offer only very less resistance. So example, metals, liquids. So these are the best examples of the conductors. And the second type of the materials are insulators. So insulators are the materials which do not allow the electric current to pass through them. So such materials examples are wood, rubber, glass, etc. And the third type of materials are that semiconductors. So these are the materials which under certain circumstances, for example, if you increase the temperature or something, they behave as a conductor, and at a normal, that is if you decrease the temperature, they behave as a insulator. So such substances are called semiconductors. So the examples of the semiconductors are germanium, silicon, gallium arsenide, etc. Now, our topic of interest is superconductors. So superconductors are nothing but they are the special type of conductors. So having almost zero resistance. So the electrical resistivity of such materials will be zero, and these materials will behave as a perfect diamagnetic when they are cooled below a particular temperature. Such temperature is called the transition temperature. The credit of the discovery of superconductivity goes to the Swedish scientist by name Kamerlingh Onnes. So he discovered this phenomena of superconductivity in the year 1911. He was conducting the experiments, that is the measurements to liquefy helium. So when he was doing the experiment, he noticed that when the temperature of any substance is decreased, its resistance is also decreased. At a particular temperature, the resistivity of the mercury is disappearing. That is, the resistivity of the mercury is suddenly dropping to zero. So he noticed this phenomena at a particular temperature of 4.2 Kelvin. So he told that the mercury has entered into a new state of having zero resistance, and he named it as a superconducting state. So any material which behaves in this way, that is the resistance of the material becoming zero, is called the superconductor. So after this, there was a open area of research in which many scientists began exploring for the new materials and their behavior at different temperatures. So the temperature at which the material becomes a superconductor is called the critical temperature. So these are the list shows here the different materials having critical temperature of different value. So the aluminium is behaving as a superconductor below a critical temperature of 1.2 Kelvin. That is, if we cool the metal aluminium below to a temperature of 1.2 Kelvin, and if we decrease the temperature below 1.2, then it will behave as a superconductor. That is, the resistance of the aluminium will become zero. Similarly, for tin, the value of 3.7 Kelvin. For mercury, it is 4.2, as we already shown in the previous slide. In the niobium and the niobium tin and tantalum, barium, cuprium oxide, for all these materials having different critical temperature. So there is a graph here which clearly shows between the graph drawn between the resistivity and the temperature. The green line shows the behavior of a superconductor, and the purple line is related to the normal conductor. You can clearly show from the graph that for a normal material, even though when it is cooled below this critical temperature, there is a electrical resistivity, that is the electrical resistivity of the material, normal metal, is not zero. But in the case of a superconductor, when we so these are the materials below this critical temperature of value of TC, superconductors, it is entering into a new state that we call it as superconducting. So general properties of the superconductors differ when you compare the properties with the other conductors. Figure normally shows the different elements which are behaving as a superconductor under normal pressure and the residual resistivity, whereas for the superconductor the resistance is almost zero. And when you add certain type of impurities to the superconductors, then the superconducting property is not lost, only there will be a change of in the value of Tc, that is the critical temperature will be lowered depending upon the type of the impurity, and also that critical temperature varies on the applied pressure and stress on the superconducting material. And the another very important effect which we call them as a isotope effect. So the isotope effect is related to the isotopic mass, that is the influence of the isotopic mass on the critical temperature. We know that the isotopes are the substances having same atomic number but different mass number. For example, if you take the case of hydrogen, there are two isotopes of hydrogen, deuterium and tritium. So these are called the isotopes. So the critical temperature is different for different isotopes. That is, for example, the element is having 3 to 4 isotopes. For each isotope, the critical temperature varies. So the variation of the critical temperature in relation to the isotopic mass, we call it as a isotopic effect. So the isotopic effect is inversely proportional to the square root of isotopic mass, which can be easily shown in this relation. Then the critical temperature can be varied by keeping the superconductor in the magnetic field. So the influence of the magnetic field varies the critical temperature value. So if you make a magnetic field to such a value so that the superconducting behavior of the magnet of the substance can be lost. So that is, if you increase the magnetic field to such a value, so that the superconducting, that is the conductor, the superconductor becomes a normal conductor, then that value is called the critical magnetic field. You can see the graph between the temperature and the critical magnetic field. So when the substance is kept in a magnetic field above the critical field, it is behaving as a normal conductor. When it is below the critical field, it is behaving as a superconductor. So the relation between the critical field and the critical temperature can be given by the relation Hc is equal to H0 into 1 minus T by Tc square. And there is a very important phenomena of the superconductor is the Meissner effect. So the Meissner effect tells that whenever a normal conductor is, when a superconductor is placed in a magnetic field, then the superconductor becomes perfectly diamagnetic. That is, the complete expulsion of all magnetic fields by the superconducting material is called the Meissner effect. Here there are two diagrams which shows the behavior of the superconducting material in the presence of magnetic field. The first diagram shows that, so this blue color is the superconducting material. Now if you increase the critical temperature, that is the temperature of the material is greater than the critical temperature, then the material is a normal conductor. You can clearly see that the magnetic lines are penetrating the material, that is the flux lines are penetrating the material. If you make the material to be a superconductor. So how we can make the material to be a superconductor? If you decrease the temperature, that is the temperature of the material is decreased below Tc, that is T less than Tc, then you can see that the magnetic lines of force are being expelled by the material, that is this material is becoming a perfectly diamagnetic. So this behavior is called the Meissner effect. So the Meissner effect is nothing but whenever the material becomes a superconductor, it expulses all the magnetic flux, that is the magnetic lines of force passing through it. So it becoming a perfect diamagnet. So this behavior is called Meissner effect. So the Meissner effect, depending upon this Meissner effect, the superconductor materials can be classified into two types. That is the type 1 superconductor and the type 2 superconductor. So if you draw a graph between the critical magnetic field and the induced magnetic field, you can see here for the type 1 superconductor, these are showing complete Meissner effect. That is, whenever the critical field is greater than, whenever the applied field is greater than critical field, the material is becoming into a normal conductor, and whenever the applied field is less than critical magnetic field, it becomes a superconductor. So this sharp transition is the behavior of the type 1 type superconductors. So, but for the type 2 superconductors, even though the induced field is greater than the critical field, the behavior is this, like this type. That is, the material is not coming out from the superconducting state. It continues to be a superconducting state for a particular time. So this type of behavior, which are not showing complete Meissner effect, are called type 2 superconductor. For the type 2 superconductor, there will be two critical fields. First, the magnetic lines of force will start expulsion from this point, from this point. So that's why there are two critical fields for these type of materials. And there are a lot difference. These are the differences between type 1 superconductors and the type 2 superconductor. So the type 1 superconductors are called soft superconductors, and the type 2 superconductors are called the hard superconductors. And for the type 1 superconductors, as we have already shown in the previous slide, that there is only one critical field, whereas for the type 2 superconductors there are two critical fields. So normally these superconductors will be having, type 1 superconductor will be having low critical field, whereas type 2 superconductor will be having high critical field. So when the critical field is low, so such materials are of less usage in the application part. So that's why we generally prefer type 2 superconductors, because these type 2 superconductors have very high critical field values and very high critical magnetic field values. So that's why they find very wider applications in the technology. So the superconductors having high TC value, that is the TC value of greater than 77 Kelvin, are called high TC superconductors. Having less than 77 Kelvin are called low TC superconductors. So this is the graph which shows that the variation of critical temperature and the discovery of the new elements and their behavior as superconductors. So actually the discovery of the superconductor began in the year 1913 with the mercury by Kamerlingh-Onnes. The research went on continuing, and finally we are getting the behavior, that is the critical temperature at high temperature up to almost 140 degree Kelvin. So the research is going on to find a suitable material so that it behaves as a superconductor at a normal temperature. So these are the pure metals, whereas now the combination of the metals, that the alloys have been started and doped, which we call it as yttrium, barium, lanthanum, barium, cupric oxide, yttrium, barium, cupric oxide, bismuth, calcium, strontium, cupric oxide. These are the oxides. So when we do the research, so each material is having different types of critical temperatures. And the application part of the Meissner effect is called the magnetic levitation. So magnetic levitation is nothing but a object rising by the application of magnetic force, that we call it as a lifting force. So this lifting force is being provided by the ejection of the magnetic field by the substance. So here in the picture diagram we can easily show that. So this black color is a superconducting material. Now a small substance is being placed on the superconducting material. So here we can see that when the superconducting material, the temperature of this superconducting material is made below critical temperature, the object is floating. That is, there is no material, there is a no material gap in these two materials. So the object is clearly floating. So this type of levitation we call it as a Meissner effect. And there are other applications of this Meissner effect. So one of the important applications is the maglev trains. So we can see in the Japan, in which the trains are running at a high speeds of some 600 to 700 kilometers per hour. So these are based on the phenomena, on the application of this magnetic levitation which comes from the Meissner effect. And there are other applications of superconductors. The superconductors are also used in SQUIDs, which we call as superconducting quantum interference devices. These are the very sensitive devices which can detect the very small changes in the magnetic field. So these are very helpful in while detecting the types of signals in brain. So particularly in EEG instrumentation, so these SQUIDs are used because they can even detect a small change of magnetic fields which are going on in your brain. And once we all know that to transfer the cable, to transfer the power, we require power cables. So these power cables generally have made of copper and other conducting materials. They have electrical resistance. So when we are able to make a power cable with the help of a superconducting materials, so because the superconducting material doesn't have any electrical resistance, the signal can be carried from one corner to other corner without any power loss. So that's why one of the applications of the power cable. And these can also be used in the communication mechanism because the electrical resistivity of the resistance is almost zero. That means there will be almost zero loss if we use these materials in the preparation of these materials. And another application is the high superconducting magnet. So to generate high magnetic field, to create high magnetic field of very huge quantity in some hundreds of Tesla, so these superconductor materials can be used in the preparation of a superconducting magnet. So these are used mainly in the particle accelerators. So thank you very much for your patient hearing. If you have any queries regarding the topic on the superconductors, you can mail me. My email ID is md WAAIZYPHYSICS MDYphysics@gmail.com. So thank you very much.